Okay, my friends, I want to share a story with you because I just hit a pretty cool milestone, and I want to share with you some wins and losses from the last adventure of my life. To do that, I want to go back to a time, December 2019. I'm living in China. I've been there for a year and a half, and I've been building this thing. You know, I moved to China to be an English teacher, and nobody was like, "Kev, you should move to China." It was this thing I wanted to do because I knew there was a real opportunity, and it was really hard in the beginning. I had to push and push and push, and just roadblocks and barriers and problems. But December 2019, I remember finally having a moment where I looked around and realized, holy crap, I've built something here. This is no longer a slog. This is working. This is happening. And I can actually set myself up for the future. I can build something really special. Like, I'm going to be okay. I did it. I did it. I built this thing. I don't know if any of you read the news, but there was this thing that happened in January 2020. And suddenly I got transplanted back to Canada. I'll skip a whole ton of this story. A place I hadn't lived in a long time. I had nothing set up, and I only had a suitcase that I had originally went to go traveling in. And I was stuck in Canada for what I thought would be a couple months, and it turned into 4 years. The pandemic was crushing for a lot of people. For me, it meant losing my apartment. It meant losing my job, losing all my savings, everything I owned in my apartment, going into a depression, struggling really bad with mental health. I'll skip a whole bunch of that, but it was an awful time. Now look, there were good things that happened for me being on that other side of the planet. Being in North America, I got to meet some amazing new friends that are going to be friends for the rest of my life. I had some awesome experiences. I got to work with Formula One, doing their after party. I got to travel. I went to Colombia. I went to Hawaii. I did some fun stuff. I lived in Turkey for 6 months. Like, it's not all boohoo. But if I'm being honest, it was really hard not to be bitter watching people complain about not getting to have their birthday party and having to wear masks. And I literally lost everything I had built. That I had put so much time into building this thing, and right when I was on the cusp of it, it just disappeared. So frustrating. Frustrating is not even the word. But a year and a half ago, the opportunity came up. After letting go of it and thinking I wouldn't ever come back to China, I kind of had to give up just to be mentally sane. But a year and a half ago, I realized I could come back. And so I was like, okay, let's do it again. And I tightened my belt and went to the hard work of trying to rebuild this thing and push myself back up the hill and try and rebuild something. And it was from scratch, man. Everything had been wiped, and I had to start over. And it was so much work. And in the middle of it, I ended up getting Lyme disease, and I just lost all my energy. And it was rough. It was really, really rough. At the end of the day, I knew I could do it because I had done it before, which is an ode to why experience is so important. But it was brutal. Anyways, the whole time I'm doing it, wondering, am I going to get kicked out of China? Am I going to be able to stay here? There's a whole bunch of that story I can't really tell publicly, but I just want to say it was really, really stressful. And last week, December 2024, I looked around, and I realized, holy crap, I've done it. The hard lifting is done. I've built this thing. The work is coming to me. I'm finally going to be able to be financially set up, doing something I love in a city that I find super interesting with tons of opportunity. And for my friends who know the behind story of this, I'll just say my Biz9s is now sorted, and I'm ready to get down to business. And it is very, very exciting. And so I wanted to take a moment and just say how much I appreciate the friends who have been there for me during this shitty, rough patch. I'm not the only one who had a hard time, but my story, I think, is a little different than many. And how grateful I am to finally be back here. And what a crazy trip it is that it took 5 years to get back. No, 3 years of just sitting waiting, which was miserable. And then, yeah, basically a year and a half to finally get this thing rebuilt to where I'm finally where I was in December 2019. I am so excited for the future, cautiously optimistic. Not excited for the zombie apocalypse. It's probably going to happen in spring. But doing my best to let joy in, and just being mad grateful for my health. I'm finally better from Lyme. Thank you for asking. And just feeling really, really excited to be here in this moment, whatever happens from here, and excited for the future. I have some pretty big plans. Like, I finally finished this first chapter, and now that the basis is set, I have some really cool things I want to build. So that's my update. I hope it was interesting. That's where I'm at, and I wanted to share it. Very, very grateful. Cool. Life is a trip, eh? Like, damn, what a crazy experience. Okay, I'll see you when I see you. Take care, comb your hair.